Danielle, you have such a fascinating story, and I cannot wait to share not just your story and how you got started, but everything email marketing with my audience. But
Yeah.
before we do that, thank you so much for coming on today. I am so excited to talk to you. You have no idea.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, this is great. This is really good. And I can't wait to get into the email marketing part. But
Mhm.
your history is kind of interesting because you started with a blog,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So back in the day when it was cool to be a blogger, I was in the process of adopting our daughters. So we have two daughters from Ethiopia. They are now 25 and 22. So it was a long time ago, but um, I started the blog to kind of keep family that wasn't in town and friends that were out of town updated. And then once we adopted them, I continued that blog, kind of did like the Christian mom blogger thing. Like again, it was kind of like the thing at the time. The internet was not new, but social media like Instagram was kind of starting, and email stuff was starting. And so I learned all the things, like literally did it all myself, was like coding website pages and building my own email list and just learning like as I went. That's how I started. And then that quickly turned, well, not quickly, over a few years turned into copywriting. So I did some copywriting for a very well known health and fitness brand. And she actually owned an agency at the time. She doesn't anymore. She has her own company, but she owned an agency. And so I did copywriting for probably 150 female fitness pros.
Wow.
And I just learned like as I went. She kind of said, "Hey, you used to be a blogger. You're a writer. You want to write for me?" And I was like, "Sure." And then she's like, "Well, you're doing a really great job. You want to write for all my clients?" And I was like, "Sure." So I was teaching full time. I have a master's in education. And so I was teaching full time. I was a cheer coach. I was mom. And, teachers make no money. So I was like, "Yes, I will do these other things to make some money on the side." And wrote for probably 30 hours a week on top of that. Um, just learning as I went, like invested in all the copywriting courses, all the things, practiced my 10,000 hours. And that's kind of how I grew into this whole marketing world.
Wow, and now you're the president of
Yeah.
Conviction Marketing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I ended up
agency.
finding a business coach, I started my own copywriting business, grew that. My coach at the time really wanted me to work with her full time. I was like, "I'm building my business. I don't want to do that." But then I started contracting for her, loved the team. She kind of put me into a management role, even when I was like a part time contractor. And eventually I went to work full time for her in her first company, which was a business coaching and consulting company. We grew it to 8 figures. I was the CMO, ran the whole marketing department. And then we had lots of clients who were struggling with their marketing. And I was like, we could do this for them. Like, they're paying all these people, they're wasting so much money. Like, we could do it. And so that's how our agency started. I didn't promote it at all. Like, I mean, for a year and a half, like, it didn't have social media, like, nothing. I just started it quietly on the side, told a few clients, was like, "Don't tell anybody about this, but we're gonna do it. If you want it, here's your rate. It's really cheap." And we've grown it from there. And so we've now helped, all kinds of entrepreneurs in all kinds of industries over the last 2.5 years in the agency, but 4 years. Oh no, it's 2025. 5 years, 5 years that since I've been working with Kelly Roach International. And then personally, it's been about 9 years since I started kind of copywriting. So I've seen a lot of behind the scenes of marketing and business and email. So
You sure have, and you know what? I love the time when there was blogs and like, blogs were it. That
yeah,
was a really
me
fun
too.
time.
Yes. Yeah, the writer in me, I obviously, so a large part of our agency was social media work for years, and we're really being more specific now and only taking on email marketing clients. But a large part of me and like having to learn all the social media stuff is like, man, I miss the days where you could just write something great, like really good,
Yeah,
and people read it and they like learned and they came back, and it was so fun. And it still happens. It's just not as common.
yeah.
Just
Yes, yes. So you focus primarily on email marketing. And if anybody who's listening who knows me knows that I'm always talking about the importance of email marketing. But I'm going to have you answer the question.
Yeah.
Why does email marketing even matter?
Yeah, I could give you the standard. It's the only thing you own, which I feel like you know that already, right? But I will give you the anecdotal story of we have 6 companies now. We were hacked at one point, and mind you, hundreds of thousands of followers, running thousands and thousands of dollars of ads every month. And we had one account hacked that was connected to 4 ad accounts, 2 Instagram
Mm.
accounts, 2 Facebook accounts, all of them gone overnight, hundreds of thousands. Now we eventually, about a year, got them all back. Some sooner than others, but just to know, like, it could all be gone. Like, so when people say it's the only thing you own, I think we all just think, oh, that's not going to happen to me. And then you wake up one morning and your stuff's wiped out.
Yeah.
And I would have clients in our agency who are they only cared about Instagram, which is so funny. I don't know why. I'm like, you can wake up tomorrow and your Instagram account could be gone. Like, what would you do? Like,
Right.
what would you do? So there's that answer, which I think it's pretty standard. But when you think about it, like if you have 100 followers on social media platform on your best day with your best content, you might get 7 people who see it. 100,000 followers, you're going to get 70 to 100 people who see it. Okay, that means you
Yeah.
are a skilled content creator. That means you know how to do a hook. You know all the things. Like, at best, you look at accounts, go to somebody's account who has 5 million followers. I bet they're getting 250,000 views out of
Mhm.
5 million people, right?
Right.
You take an email list of 5 million people at even a not so great open rate of 20%, you're now millions over the 200,000 who saw that. So
Yeah.
even if you are an exceptional content creator, like exceptional, like this is your job, you are still not getting in front of as many people as you would on your social media accounts as you would in your email. So to me, it's just such a critical piece of the puzzle. And then typically, too, when you think about mindset, somebody is on social media to be entertained or informed. They're on YouTube, maybe searching around to be informed. They are sometimes buying. Typically, when you're in a buying stage on social media, it's more product based.
Hmm.
You're not looking for services. You're looking to kind of scout people out, see what they know. You're in a buying frame of mind, typically in email.
Yeah.
That's business. It's where people are thinking about work, which also means they're thinking about what do they need. And so it's a different mindset. You have to entertain over here, whereas in email, you don't have to do that the same way. So it's just a different mindset that I think is more conducive to sales if you are somebody who likes that, which I
Yeah.
like sales.
I
So
like sales. Who
yeah.
doesn't like sales, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm going to give you the one comment I hear the most when I
Yeah.
talk email marketing,
Okay.
and that is, what's the point of email marketing? No, nobody opens emails. I don't even open my own emails. I just delete them.
Well, I would say that's a lie. Um, and I have lots of stats to prove that. People don't respond to sucky emails for sure. People
Yeah.
don't open crappy emails. Absolutely. People don't watch crappy videos on Instagram either.
Yeah.
So it's the same. I guarantee all the people who would say that they can think of one person whose emails they open.
Yeah.
Probably just one. Maybe there's a handful. And there's a reason they open that. Maybe they just really like that person. Maybe one time that person created something so good that now they'll open everything else that they do. Maybe that's their favorite influencer or someone that they're in a paid program for. But when that person's name pops in their inbox, they open,
Yeah.
they read. And I can also tell you, I'll just not even forget our clients, like, because we have clients with very large followings. So I can say I built our marketing agency's email list from zero organically. We just started
Mhm.
running ads about 5 months ago. For a year and a half, completely organic from zero. Every single week, my open rates are 45 to 55%. My click-through rates, which are much more important, open rates are not accurate. Click-through rates are 2 to 4%, which are way above industry norms.
Yeah.
But here's what I like. My purchase rates are in the thousands of dollars. Thousands. I don't
Yes.
launch, I don't do things like that. I can do a sale via my email and people buy. And so I can prove that people are reading my emails because they're click and purchase and they're buying the thing. So it's definitely not true. I can also tell you that I am very intentional about my nurture emails and how I have an in-depth newsletter that I send every Saturday. And every single week I get responses back, replies back. I'm saving this and sending it to my team. Or I have 5 questions after I'm reading this. Like, people are reading.
Hmm.
They are engaging. They are replying. Like, every week I get replies. Every time I do a sales campaign, I get purchases. So you can tell me that's not true. One of our clients who has millions of followers across social, millions, email list size of about probably like 150,000. She gets tons of engagement on her social media. And when we sell something, she gets lots of like the mini chat DMs, where you're
Yeah.
in there. But where do her sales come from? Her email. We send 5 emails, we'll get 10x the sales from her social media of millions, millions.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. Her emails are driving the sales.
So how do you write emails that don't suck?
Well, that's a big
Hey.
can of worms. There's lots of different ways. This is, I think people always want some magic bullet, and I'll be super honest. I don't lie to people. There is no magic bullet. I am a copywriter, like trained conversion copy, and I can tell you there's no magic words. There's no magic format. The real magic of it, I would say email, but I would also say this is true for your social media content, is always going to be in your ability to get in the mindset of your reader.
Mm,
And people don't pay attention to things that aren't relevant to them. So an example that I always give is I never cared about YouTube. Like, I still don't really care about YouTube, if I'm being completely honest. But so I could have told you 2 years ago, like, all the YouTube influencers, and like, I could have named them. If I saw like something like a short video on Instagram, I might watch it, but I was not interested. I certainly wasn't signing up for their email list. And if I had somehow magically got on it, I was not opening their emails. I didn't care.
right.
It just wasn't on the list. We decided that we wanted to really dial in our founders' YouTube channel this year. Now, all of a sudden, this is very relevant to me.
Yeah.
Now I'm opening these people's emails. Now I'm listening to their podcasts, or watching their YouTube videos. Now, because of the relevancy to what I am looking for, the problem I'm trying to solve, now their stuff makes sense. Like, now it's something I
Mhm.
want to consume. So understanding that you have to create content that is relevant to the right now of your people, number
Mhm.
one. Number two, you have to do better. Like, I don't know another way to say that. We live in a chat GPT world, and I'm
Yeah.
not anti AI, but I don't use it to write my newsletters. I don't use it to write my conversion copy. We use it in processes, but we don't use it to create content. And
Mhm.
so, what is really, really important to understand is that anyone now can show up and say that they do what you do. They can Google some stuff or chat GPT some stuff, put out some generic content, and call it a day.
Yeah.
So you can't be basic anymore. 5 years ago, you could be basic. 5 years ago, you could say, here's how to do an Instagram story. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, you have to be good. You have to share like legit, nuanced stories that are relevant. You have to talk about things in a way people aren't used to people talking about. People all the time. It's so funny. Everyone's like obsessed with Alex Hormozy. I don't know why. He's smart. Whatever. He's a great marketer. I don't
Yes.
want to
Yes.
detract from that. But people would come to us and say, like, we want videos like him. And I'm like, you understand that the reason his stuff is growing is not because he has a certain style of captions.
Mhm.
That's not what's making him big.
Yeah.
What's doing it is he is speaking about a problem that people have in a nuanced way that other people aren't saying.
So
That's why
true.
his videos are doing well, not because he's wearing the nose thing and got the bright captions.
Yeah.
Like people were like, we just need those style of videos and not really understanding it's the content of what he's saying in the video
Right.
that's actually doing the thing. Yes, you need to understand what gets attention and all those things. You need a great subject line. You need to get great first two lines. But like ultimately, if you write something that's not really in depth and nuanced, and I just wasted my time reading it and it was kind of fluff, it felt
Yeah.
like chat GPT, I'm not going to open your next one. So if you want to write great stuff, you have to be a real expert and share stuff that's a little bit different that they're not going to find other places. The other thing I would say is people really don't think about their email strategy. And I can say this because I have worked with people on social media and I have worked with people on email. And let me tell you, the painstaking discussions that happen over one Instagram video is shocking. Shocking the level of strategy and and I'm like, okay, we just spent an hour and a half on an Instagram video. We spent 4 minutes on what you're going to put in your email. Like, this is so backwards to me. So people
Yes.
they put all this
Yes.
content out here. They spend all this time on a YouTube video. They spend all this time on a podcast, on their social media strategy, and their email is like a dumping ground. It's like, go read my latest blog, go watch my latest video, go listen to my latest podcast, go buy my thing, go come to my workshop, come to my webinar. There's no inherent value in your list because I could just
Hmm.
go to your social media and get it other places. So most people, it's not that their writing isn't great. It's not that um, there's some magical thing they're missing in the email. It's just that they have no strategy. It is a dumping ground. They're just like, hey, people, go do the things I want you to do. That's
Yeah.
it. And then every now and then I'm going to give you one little thing that used to be an old post, but I just repurposed it and I added a couple lines and now it's an email. Like there's no real thought to their strategy. And they're like, my email marketing doesn't work. Email marketing is dead. And I'm like, no, you just don't have a strategy and it sucks.
Yeah, you know what? You're so right. You are so right. And it's so true because when you talked about spending so much time on an Instagram reel and then 4 minutes on email. And I
If
feel
that.
that. Like I feel that so much. And it's so accurate. But email is, in my opinion, so much more important than social media. Not to say social media doesn't have its
Yep,
place, but
it
if it
does.
were up to me, and I've said this a million times, and I guess I need to figure out a way to execute it, I would be off social. I'd have my website and I'd have my email and I would be done with social because it's a time suck. And I think the real value is really in the website and in the email. It's not so much on social, but I understand the value of social. It's free, it reaches people, it's a way to promote. So I get it.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
I would love to go back to the blogging world at
Yeah,
that time.
I mean, it's interesting. I just did a session. I was teaching sales, and when you understand a real sales process and you
Mhm.
understand marketing and sales and how they work together, we're very fortunate to live in a world where we don't have to knock on doors
I
and
agree.
take a sale. I'm so thankful that the hardest thing I have to do is make a video for Instagram,
It's so
like
much
to get
easier
new
now,
people on
yeah,
my email list, right? So like I'm glad to live in this time, but we've almost sort of overcorrected in that we just think if I just create enough content, everybody will want to buy what I have, which was true 3 years ago.
yeah,
It's not true today in this market. So
mhm,
now you need a true marketing strategy. So I've got to build a brand. I've got to nurture people in my ecosystem. And then I've got to pull them into my email list, my launches, my sales conversations. And then I need a true sales process.
yeah,
And most people don't have sales processes. They have hybrid marketing things that they do. And there's no true like understanding of I'm bringing new people into my world, I'm nurturing them, and then I'm selling to them. And then if they don't buy right then, I'm re-nurturing them until they're ready to buy. And so I think social media is important and I'll preach that all day. Everybody should build a personal brand. Everybody should I love LinkedIn.
yeah,
It is very, very hard to do well on social media organically. It takes a lot of time.
mhm,
And so when you're looking at bang for your buck, your email list is the money. directly. And then the social media presence fuels that. It builds the list. It
Yeah.
re-nurtures the list. It keeps you top of mind. It's important. It needs strategy, but so does your email.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. So we keep talking about this email strategy and how to really use that email to monetize and to bring more revenue in. But how does that strategy work? What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, there's layers. So there's your nurture sequence when they come in, because that sets the tone for everything. So whatever they're coming into your list for, whether it's a lead magnet, or they're just signing up for your newsletter, or something that a workshop or launch that you have, that sequence that they get in the first 5 to 7 days will tell them a couple things. Number one, it will tell them, I see that name in my inbox. I do one of two things: I open or I delete. So you have to remember, like, I have a lead magnet right now that I could charge money for. It's 3 email sequences every business needs. And I walk through email by email what you should put in your nurture sequence, what you should put in your sales sequence. But it's not connected to me, right? So you opt into that and you
Hmm.
get that lead magnet, but you're going to see my name in your inbox and be like, where'd this girl come from? I don't know this chick. Like, I signed up for this ad, right? Which is what happens to so many people. We have a free lead magnet. They sign up and they forget us. So they
Yeah.
get their lead magnet, and the next email they don't open. So that first email has to be killer. And then the next few have to be really, really intentional, because it's training people to associate your name with your expertise and your value. After that week, you're going to see either they're in or they're not, because they're going to either stay on your list and not open, which kills everything, or they're
Yeah.
just going to unsubscribe. So that sequence is critical. And we write those sequences for people all the time, because it is something worth spending money on, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
something that's basically training people to consume your emails. But then you want to look at, am I creating enough novel content in my emails that make it worth opening? So am I giving enough information, sharing enough inspiration, sharing enough, again, same as your social media strategy.
Right.
Same thing, right? We look at our content calendar, we look at what we're promoting. Here's topics I'm going to talk about. Here's something I'm going to teach on. Here's the inspiration. Here we do something called conviction marketing. Here are our convictions. There's layers, there's informational content. The same thing
Mhm.
applies to your emails. Am I informing? Am I inspiring? How am I hitting on all these things? And I am very adamant that it should be novel to your email list. So
Mhm.
I send out a Saturday newsletter. You will get an in-depth marketing training every Saturday morning that you cannot get anywhere else. You can't get it on a podcast. You can't get it on my social media. You literally cannot get it anywhere else. And it's free on my newsletter, but it is worth opening because it's super in-depth, super
Yeah.
nuanced, super specific. And it's not something you just go to my website and read. It's not something you just go watch a video and do. So
Yeah.
it's really important that you have at least one thing like that every week that you're sending out that they can't get anywhere else. And then you want to look at, what is coming up sales wise? What do I have to seed? Like, what do I have to get people to understand? Hey, you need this thing. Keep it top of mind for them, because I'm about to send you a sales sequence. And so
Yeah.
then you send your sales emails. But there's basically looking at, how am I nurturing? How am I getting people to continue to open and stay engaged?
Mhm.
You want people replying back. You want to build a relationship through email. So how am I weaving that into my content? Again, same as I would do on social. On social, I'm
Right.
saying, how do I get people to comment or DM me? Like, how do I get them in the DMs? Same thing here. How am I getting them to reply? And then looking at my sales goals and saying, how am I reverse engineering the lead up time to the sales process, and then the sales process itself? How am I mapping that out? So it's really not very different than how you would build out a social media strategy. It's just different in how you would execute it, right? Social media,
Yeah.
you're filming videos and you're writing captions and all these things. Email, you're
I
just
love
creating
the idea of having the content in the email that they can't find anywhere
it.
else because, you said this earlier that you want it to be special. You want them to open it and know that it's only here because I actually just said this on one of my prior podcasts is that I don't like when people post the exact same thing on social media across all the platforms on the same day at the same time because I've already seen it. So why do I need to follow you in
Yep.
all 3, 4, whatever places? If it's the same exact thing, I'll unfollow
Mhm.
you because I can get it on one, and that's the platform that I'm on the most. And it's almost the exact same thing of what you're
Yep.
saying. Is like, keep it there, because if not, they can just follow you on social, which is
Yep.
all rented, and the
Mhm.
good stuff happens in email. So thank you for sharing that. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's right. So, another question I got is there a rule of thumb of how many emails to send? You're talking about the one that you send on Saturday.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
do you send multiple a week, or is it just like, what does that look like?
Yeah. Everybody's strategy is different and should be different based on your goals. I think the rule of thumb, bare minimum, generally once a week.
Mhm.
Most businesses could probably do two really good ones a week. It depends on your goals, right? Do you have a podcast you're promoting? Do you have frequent launches? Are you always trying to get sales calls booked? It really, um, it depends on how you sell and what you like. Do you sell high ticket or low ticket? So I started our list with just one per week on Saturday morning. And every Saturday it was like, I mean, it's big. Like, it's like, get your coffee, go sit down and read the thing.
You're gonna read this.
But people were, like, obsessed with it, and what I did is I didn't send any more than that. I just sent that one, but at the bottom of that email, I would do my big training, and at the bottom, I would do, like, "Hey, this is what openings our agency has for new clients. We're taking on 3 new clients for this or 2 new clients for this. If you want to be a client, book a call." So I was selling every email, but it was sort of like a footnote, right? Like,
Right?
this is how you can work with us. And so I shifted a little bit. There's two ways I've shifted. I still do my Saturday, same thing, and I will still put at the bottom that here's how to work with us. But then I've added some other things. So now I didn't have low ticket offers when I started. And low ticket for us is like $1,000. It's not really low ticket, but it's
Yeah,
done for you work. We're
yeah,
literally writing your nurture sequence and it's really good. So like that's different than like a $3,000 a month retainer, right? So um, I would do like a 5-day campaign in between that was a sales campaign, like once a month, selling one of our low ticket offers to the list. And so 5 days in a row, sometimes a little bit longer, but I would do a sale, like a true sales sequence.
yeah,
I don't really launch, although sometimes I do webinars. So I would sometimes add that in where I'd have like maybe 3 or 4 invites to a webinar that we would do. Um, I will sometimes have a great social media post that does do really well, and I'll send it out via email, maybe add a few things, but it's never in replacement of my Saturday email. The Saturday
right.
email is like
Standard.
this, yeah, that's like you're always going to get it. It is always going to be good. It's always going to be in depth, and it will always be something you can't get somewhere else. Then you might get sales emails or other nurture emails in addition to that, but it's not necessarily going to be the same as that Saturday email. And it's not the same every month. It's just kind of based on the goals for that month.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. If somebody is listening to this right now and they're like, wow, Danielle is dropping like some really cool ideas, and I have neglected my email for a while. I have that list, haven't really done much. Kind of overwhelming to think about starting an email strategy, but ready to take the very first step
Yeah.
into making it happen. What is the first thing that they should do to get this started?
Yeah, so I guess it kind of depends on where you are. And I do have a free guide that you can grab. But if you have not emailed your list, let's say you've got thousands of people and you have just not sent anything for a long, long time. You want to do a re-engagement campaign. And so I in the free guide I walk through send these 4 emails, like, and it kind of tells you what to put in each email. But basically it's 4 emails that you're gonna send to your list to be like, hey, this is me, this is how you got here. If you want to
Yeah.
stick around, great. This is what you can expect. So if you haven't emailed in a long time, you want to do a re-engagement campaign. If you've been emailing, but it's just you're kind of like not doing it with a strategy, you're just kind of haphazardly like sending the podcast every week and like dumping the sales emails. I would look at what is one thing you can send every week that is super high value. So maybe it's an in-depth training. I've seen people do like really curated One girl I follow, she does like an AI prompt, um, 3 different subject line hooks, and she'll do like it's so every week her newsletter is like these different sections, right? For one of our businesses, it's basically we focus on like sales systems and how to get more sales. So we'll give you like our best performing post for the week, so you can use it. We give you a sales DM template every week. We give you a sales strategy every week. So it's a newsletter that's got these 4 components that every week you're going to get a new template, a new strategy, a new best performing post so you can see what's going on, right? So look at a format that makes sense for you. For my newsletter, I love teaching in depth and I'm a writer. Like I would much rather do that than a live video. So like I'm going to just pick a topic and teach you what I would teach if we were doing a class, like on a video.
Nice.
That's my style. You could do another style where it's curated information, but commit to a style and say, okay, from now on, once a week, I'm sending this email no matter what. It is only going to be here. And you can announce it. You can say, hey, moving forward, every Thursday, I'm going to be sending an email just like this. So stick around for more to come and then send your email. And so if
Perfect.
you've been sending emails, you don't have to redo anything. You just kind of start the right stuff now and just do that one a week. Do that for a month, and then you can start adding in the other stuff.
I love it. I love it. And you talked about a free guide that you have.
Yeah.
So what is the name of this free guide? And can I share the link in the notes?
You can share the link in the notes. People can
Awesome.
also DM me on LinkedIn if they want to. It's a terribly unclever name. It's the three email sequences every business needs, and I
Perfect.
walk you through a re-engagement campaign, a sales campaign, and a nurture sequence. So basically, I just give you like an email by email outline of this is what your first one should do, this is what your second one should do. And so, yeah, the links in the show notes, or you can, like I said, find me on LinkedIn and DM me and I'll send it over. But it's a great resource if you want to re-engage or if you need to fix your nurture sequence. It's a good tool.
I definitely recommend it for anybody listening who is feeling like I need to do something. Yes, I'm going to have all of Danielle's links in the show notes, or I do have them. So just scroll down below and connect with Danielle.
Mhm.
Get that free guide. Let it get you started on getting your email strategy together. And Danielle, thank you so much for coming on
Yeah,
today.
thank
I love this
you.
conversation and you shared so many good things. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to connecting to everybody.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.